got the signals for the Baltimore Colts. Unitas gives to Amici. The Colts are the world champions. Amici scores.
It's amazing, sensational, dramatic, heart-rending, exciting, thrilling finish in the history of college football. California won the big game. 5 seconds left in the game. You believe in miracles? Yes! Unbelievable.
This is Phil Steele.
This is Mike Burnham.
This is Wes Durham.
This is Mike Ashley.
Hi, this is Chuck Foreman, number 44 of the Minnesota Vikings.
Woo, mercy, this is handsome Jimmy Vane, the Boogie Woogie Man.
This is Coach Fry with Virginia Tech Football, and you are listening to Big Dog Sports Talk.
Are you ready to rock? Are you ready to roll? Okay, let's do it.
You're in the doghouse with Rick Watson on Big Dog Sports Talk, presented by Pulaski County Sports and Entertainment. Join us in the Family Fencing Studios and chime in on the McClellan Chiropractic chat line. He's keeping cool with help from Little River Heating and Air, but this show is straight fire. And now, the big dog, Rick Watson.
Rick Watson's got the mic, he's the big dog king. Cover sports so sharp, it's a New River thing. Virginia Tech fire, rapid pride too. Every stat, every play, he's bringing it to you. He's got that voice, deep as a valley, breaking it down, no dilly, no dally. Big dog sports talk, feel the bark, feel the bite. Tricks in the zone, every day, every night, from the Hokies to the Highlanders. He's got the spark, Big dog sports talk, lighten up the dark. He's got the scoop, faster than a sprint. Calling plays like a coach, every word's a hint. From the courts to the fields, the stories unfold. Rick's play-by-play, worth its weight in gold. With a laugh and a growl, he'll pull you in. Big Dog's podcast, let the games begin. Big Dog Sports Talk, feel the bark, feel the bite.
Hey, good morning. How are you? It is the Wednesday edition. Say hello to Henry the Camel. What a loaded program, my goodness. Hopefully this is one of the reasons why you come back as often as you do. Keon Brown joins us coming up. Damian Sordelette, David Teal. We'll talk Tech Spring Game with those two gentlemen. And then, of course, Ron Shelburne, the Radford Hall of Famer. We got another Shelburne story. Story times with Big Ron. And we have you. And we have Henry. We got a lot going on today. Mike Grable makes his entire situation worse. He held a press conference yesterday. Would you want that guy to be your head football coach? Ooh. All right. And I've become so jaded. I got a jaded take on college athletics we're going to get into. The more I thought about things yesterday. But anyway, how's everybody doing? We got a lot going on today. My goodness gracious. Good morning, Stephen. Good morning, Vic. Good morning, Bringer of Fire. How's everybody doing? Yeah, how's Carolina fan feel now that Billy Donovan resigned? Oops. We should have waited a little while. From the Songwriters Festival in Palm Coast. Ooh, that sounds like fun. 4 days of stories of how number one songs are written. They perform the songs and tell us of how they were written as we hoist an adult beverage. Toast. Good morning, Morris. Good morning, Chris Lester. How are you? So, Mike very well yesterday didn't apologize. If anything, he came across more arrogant, very unapologetic about his affair, which he admitted. Bizarre. It's just bizarre. Neither one of them apologized that were involved in it. Diana Rossini lost her job. Mike Vrabel won't lose his job. So I've come to a jaded conclusion because nothing else makes sense. Good morning, T-Bird. How are you? After talking to a couple of folks around Power Fours across the country yesterday, and yes, one of those folks was the undefeated Big Ten guy, I have now come to the acceptance that what I told you about a couple months ago where the gentleman, a high-ranking official at Tech, said it was money laundering, I now believe that's what college athletics is. I no longer believe that everyone is struggling so mightily. I'm not saying at Radford's level and at mid-majors and things like, but these power schools have a lot more money than they're trying to act like they have. And I was told yesterday there are conversations in the Big Ten that are heard, not official meetings, but things that are heard around the league. People around these power leagues aren't going to be very concerned if certain programs have to evaporate because they didn't really want to run them anyway. The Olympic programs, the ones who don't make any money whatsoever. Right? And I keep going back to the Iowa State story we opened up with yesterday. Because to me, it encompasses everything that makes no sense whatsoever. We're talking about Iowa State signing Audie Crooks from Oklahoma State for $1.4 million when they announced that program had lost $2.6 million. So the way you act, the way you conduct business, actions are all that matters in this world. Words don't mean anything when somebody tells you they're going to do something or somebody tries to tell you that this is wrong. Just like Vrabel yesterday. Good morning, Brian. Oh, we got to celebrate this for a second. I saw you post on this. So today is Brian Oliver's last day in a UPS uniform. 37 years, 7 months. Time to drive off into the sunset. Do they let you keep the big brown truck? Because that would be cool. That could be the BDST travel truck. Glad to start it off with big. Oh, well, thank you. That means a lot, Brian. Congratulations, man. That is awesome. Let's give him a couple here. Brian, 37 years and 7 months at UPS.
Oh my. Oh, no. Oh, no. That was out of nowhere.
Brian, 37 years and 7 months. What do we? All right, Brian, more celebration. There we go. Look, Brian, look how happy Salma is. Look what you did, man. Wow. Look at her celebrate. You lucky guy, you. That's awesome, dude. Seriously. Well done. You deserve the time. Before you leave, tell UPS today to sponsor the program. You're welcome. Well, you deserved it. Hey, you made Selma boogie. And a happy Selma. Happy Selma, happy life. But anyway, I'm not buying it anymore. It goes back to Jay Pearson a couple weeks ago. Gentleman walking away from donating. I know you do, bro. I know. When's enough's enough? No explanation, just we need more. I'll start thinking about this because you think about it, players are going to continue to make more money, and this is not a diatribe about players making money, okay? This is not that in any way, shape, or form. This is not any complaints about that. It is what it is. We have no structure to it. But you talk about the endless amounts of money that coaches are making, how easily buyouts are paid when coaches are fired. We went through this last year when all those coaches lost jobs in the power leagues, all these ridiculous buyouts. No one ever seemed to be upset that they just had the money ready for the buyouts. So I believe, folks, that from the top level, that a lot of us are being misled intentionally. Not to say that things aren't ridiculous, right? Because they are. And not to say that there's not real casualties coming, which there are. But you can't keep doing something like Iowa State did and tell me it makes any sense. And again, this isn't picking on women's basketball. It's just the latest thing that's happened that draws out the hypocrisy. And I wouldn't even bring it up if Iowa State women's basketball had made $2.6 million. Oh, they're making a profit, so they can go out and they can give Ms. Crooks the highest contract that we know about in women's basketball. Oh, it makes perfect sense. No. You're in the red. You expose that to your fan base, to your donors, yet then you do this. And I guess I want your thoughts on it. Could this just be a laundering scheme? Could this just be the folks who used to get all the money now don't get to keep all the money? So they're going to stomp their feet and act like playing the victim is going to curtail the money they have to pay out in the rev share. These are I'm just throwing out theories. I'm not saying anything is concrete. But some of the things I was told, and I hadn't checked in with Big Ten guy for a while, who, by the way, hasn't missed on anything he said. And I was just thinking, and I said this to him. I said, this does sound like money laundering, doesn't it? And he said, that's a good way to put it. And I said, well, it's not mine. I got that from a gentleman in Blacksburg. He said, yeah, you could look at it that way. There's another example, Prometheus. I put up the graphic, right? Penn State, barely like $200,000 is claiming all they profited, even after making $58 million in football. Multi-billion-dollar stadium renovations. Nebraska just announced a stadium renovation project, 30 to 40. I don't know how much it was. I don't want to misquote the price. It was a lot. We talked about, okay, so if they are lying, if they are exaggerating, where's the money coming from? Well, there's lots of funds. There's lots of treasury troves they can tap into. We brought up Notre Dame because it's well known that their endless supply of money. That's why you never hear Notre Dame say anything about anything. Ever. The reserves that some of these schools have don't ever get brought up, was what we talked about yesterday. And some of it, including in Blacksburg, is pretty impressive. So I'm just no longer going to listen to it until you start behaving a certain way to show that there are these issues. And Big Ten guy said it best. He said there's so many people angry, higher up in athletic departments, presidents in the Big Ten, since that's his league. They're not happy with all the money that now has to be filtered down. Again, and we've said this all along, we don't like it. We don't like being able to jump from school to school, but the athletes are doing nothing wrong. Right? They're not. They're taking advantage of a system that's now open because the system never gave them anything that lived up to the amount of millions and millions and millions and now billions that what they do was making those people. And they don't like it. Right? They don't like it. How many movies have you watched? You watch, I don't know. I won't be able to think of one off the top of my head specifically, but you've got a guy who's very wealthy, sitting in his mansion, but he's running some kind of drug ring or he's running some kind of illegal trade. And then he finds out that one of his shipments got heist and it cost him several, $1 million. He's a multi-billionaire. He won't feel it really, but he just didn't like the fact that somebody took it away. Who is this that was able to penetrate our organization? Well, guess what? That's what's happening now. The athletes have penetrated the organization of the guys who are sitting around in their mansions running, let's just say it, the illegal trade. If you know what, it wasn't technically illegal, I should say. Immoral. When they were all just keeping the money for whatever they needed to do. And for 7 decades, it was sold as, well, they're getting a scholarship. And then when the money became too much, they could no longer do that. Ed O'Bannon, oops, when the numbers were released about the EA sports games. Wait a minute, how come his name's on there and he's not making anything? Oops, it's over. None of that ever made any sense. That's what we grew up with. We were grandfathered into that as young fans, young sports people. Oh, I hope I can go to college and get a scholarship playing this sport, that sport. It was all just a grand lie. Because now look how quickly they've abandoned the educational value of anything. When's the last time? Are we going on 2 full years now when we've heard about somebody being ineligible academically? Can anyone remember the last time that happened? I can't. So I've come to the conclusion that the actions are telling us what's really going on. And the actions from these schools is that it's not slowing down. Spending is not slowing down. But yet, we're going to complain about it. We're going to tell you how dire it is. We're going to tell you how unsustainable it is. Well, I'll tell you what's unsustainable is the ineptitude of so-called leadership for all these decades. At the highest level of collegiate athletics, you could have partnered with the athletes many years ago. Administrators, athletic directors, and coaches rely on these younger people for their livelihood. Their entire livelihood revolves around recruiting, developing, and winning with these young people. And if they're that important, then you should have been able to see this many, many, many years ago and be able to treat them with the same respect when you start talking about a business provision, because they're too young to understand it all. But instead, you decided to hoard all the money. And now that the courts will never side with you, now that the athletes and their grabs are becoming more and more financially viable for them, you can't handle it. You lost. Big time college athletic structure lost, and they're stomping their feet, and they don't know how to handle it. They're the guy on the mansion in the movie. He's sitting there by the pool. He's got kind of one of those half robes on. He's got his flip-flops on. He's got some younger gal, maybe two, running around the pool, giggling. And he's got one of his street guys in there, Boss, hey, boss, I got an update you're not going to like, boss. What happened, Raggy? Everyone does lose. Morris says we're talking about fishing here. Sorry. Sorry, Morris. Yeah, everyone loses, especially us, the fans. Because now we're seeing the unevenness of it. I do love gangster movies. I do, Chris. I do. I love the first two Godfather movies. So I'm not buying it. Hey, Iowa State, I'm not buying it. Okay. You told us how much money you're losing in women's basketball. Okay. Then how can you give one player $1.4 million? How can you give her over half of what you said you lost? Your thoughts? Yeah, Chris, because we get it. Yeah, those are fun. Yeah, I do too. I love those. That's why I love The Sopranos when it was on. So I just, and hearing some of the things Big Ten guy told me yesterday, I'm just like, wow. And we're talking your Ohio States, your Michigans, Michigan State. We're talking the big hitters. He said Indiana's getting ready to enter that world because Cignetti's going to force them to after the national title. So when we start seeing honest struggles, unfortunately, this is Prometheus. This is why you're dead on about everybody loses. Kids are going to start losing because their programs are going to go away. If that happens, I mean, mid-major stuff is clear. But from the power leagues, don't start telling me that we're in these dire straits when you don't want to act as if any of that's true. And like I said, this is a situation where that one really made me think at Iowa State, because that's just it's just like, again, I used the analogy yesterday. You go to the bank for a loan. I got man, my house, I got things I got to fix on my house. That's why I need this. It's a dire situation. I got to have it. Okay, well, we understand this is kind of an emergency. Let's check your credit. You got it. Go fix what you need to fix, okay? Payments due X amount of time. Oops. What is that? Is that a brand new 2026? What is that? Is that a brand new Dodge Ram? We are going to get into Shelburne's story time, Morris, and I'm going to ask him about a business model. He works for Farm Bureau Insurance, sponsors of the Marty Smith, Steve Ragsdale. Yeah, Iowa State was the leak. Hey, boss. It was Iowa State thing. All right. Now you know what you have to do, right, guys? Yes, boss. And guys, don't come back here and tell me that you failed, because if you do, it'll be the last day you're on this earth. Money laundering scheme. Yeah. Starting to think it is. Starting to think it is. We've got he estimated that the total packages for Power 4 coaches, that there are probably 20 that are making at least $10 million. Head football coaches. In what world does that make any sense? You're a freaking coach. But they don't have a problem with that. They don't have a problem with spending millions on their assistant staff. But boy, oh boy, we got a rev share with the athletes. And then all of a sudden, we're going to just stomp our feet as loud as we ever have about anything. We got it for everything else. We can give raises to ourselves and the people in the department. We can go to our presidents and accept the raises that are given to us, all this. But boy, oh boy, when you got to finally pay the people that are making all the money for you. Because let's be honest, these administrators aren't doing a damn thing. No one is, going to pay whatever it is now, or what a family of four would cost to go to a Tech game, probably a lot, or any Power 4 program. You're not going there to watch the president or the AD. Money laundering scheme. We'll ask Keon that as well. That's a good question, Prometheus. I have to ask more questions about that. I think it's just a term that's used for – the way I look at it is that, well, hey, if we got to spend this much more money on athletes, then what are we going to do to make sure we don't lose any money ourselves? Let's just keep asking for more. And we'll keep saying we're turning the money over. Right? I know somebody who likes gangster movies. It's that guy, Keon Brown. What's up, KB? Can you hear me? Uh-oh. We got no audio. Did I can see you. You look outstanding. Can you hear me okay? Yeah, you can hear me. We cannot hear Keon. Can you guys hear Keon? Is that just me? No. No audio from KB. But he's made the day better by just looking as dashing as he does right now. You want me to send you another invite? You want to try to get out and get back in? All right, let me do that. Let me do that real quick. Sometimes that happens. Let me try that again. All right, let me send this to Keon again here. But you guys could not hear him either, right? Is that I'm making sure I'm not losing my mind? Keon has been silenced. Keon will never be silenced. Not while this show exists. Got a couple big announcements coming up, by the way. I don't know when yet, but we might do one tomorrow. We'll see. Damian Sordelet, David Teal, and Big Ron Shelburne, the Hall of Famer, joining us tomorrow. All right. There he is.
There we go. We're good now.
Hey, sometimes just got to resend it, refresh the link, right? Sometimes that happens. How you doing, brother?
I'm good, man. I can't complain about a thing. You good?
Yeah, man, we're good. We're talking about college athletics lying their asses off about how much money they're losing. What do you think?
You're talking about Audie Crooks?
Yeah. Now, again, this is not picking on women's basketball, right?
No.
But they released their books and they said, hey, we look at that. 2.6 million we lost in women's basketball. We had good attendance, right? And then they give one player 1.4 million. So from a pure business standpoint, that doesn't make much sense, does it?
It does not to me. And you're paying her 1.4 million to not play defense. I love me some Audie. She's unbelievable. She's unstoppable on the offensive end. But my goodness, Rick Watson right now at this current state and age plays more defense than her, I promise you.
Could I score a bucket on her? You think I could score a bucket on her?
She'll let you score. She doesn't even care. But on the other end, that's where you got the problem.
Yeah. She's a problem down low.
She is.
She is.
Yeah, she's a tank.
So do you think a lot of this is just they don't like the fact that the status quo now is lessening the amount of money they have to play with amongst themselves, and they don't want to have to give it to these people? They figure, hey, these are just students. These are just young people. Why are we, you know what I mean? It just feels like it's almost sour grapes at this point.
Yeah, at this point. But back to what you said, I mean, if you're losing money, is it just the right financial decision in the future? I was listening to yesterday, and I was listening to Marva talk about, it pretty much is what she can do for the program as far as the eyes that's now going to be on that program. And, I can see that too, because Audie's so popular. But at the same time, the deficit that you're in, you don't make it easier by spending another 1.4 million.
No,
you just don't.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
And I was just talking to some business people around town yesterday. They're like, that. No, we always, when we're having a little bit of a shortfall, we get together, we have meetings, and we cut back for several months until we get back on. Because that makes sense, right? That seems to make, just like we do in our homes with our households. You and your wife, right? Oh, okay. Well, we're going to be spending this amount of money. We might not. It's just common sense, but I guess there's none of that in college athletics. So.
It is not. And you mentioned it. We all can relate to it at home. The viewers, you, I. It's like me and my wife going through our budget, and we're like, all right, we're here. We're at a great place, and I go out and buy $800 Jay-Z tickets where he's going to be at Yankee Stadium next month, which I'm thinking about doing. So that's
you're going to do that. I mean, you're going to do that, right? Will you stay out of the doghouse if you do that?
I don't know, because Chris Brown and Usher have a concert coming out. So it's going to be a tat for a tat day. I go see Jay-Z, you go see Chris Brown and Usher.
Hey, there you go. Yeah. And then she's happy.
There we go. Nobody can complain. It cancels each other's out, right?
Exactly. I'm so mad. And then you're going, oh, he's so sweet, isn't he?
Yeah, there we go.
So I don't know, man. I talked to Big Ten guy, and he was telling me some of these other things. And from what a lot of stuff we're told and shown isn't what's really going on. Just like everything else going on in the world right now, right?
Yeah, nobody truly knows, right? Especially, it'll get to a point, I think, in college where you know the official numbers and what that looks like, but nobody knows. They don't. But 1.4 million still blows my mind when you think about it.
I know.
I didn't expect it. So I saw a report that says she is now the third highest paid women's basketball player in the country, regardless of the WNBA, NCAA,
correct,
regardless, behind Asia Wilson, and I forgot who the other one was. My God, crazy, insane.
I know.
And we know how good Asia Wilson is. She might be the best women's player ever.
It's crazy. Yeah. Well, I don't know. And we don't have anything coming down the pike. And I think, too, what he made a good point yesterday when I was talking to him. He said they're powerless. They know they're going to remain powerless for the foreseeable future. And I think that's just got them like, well, we're not going to, they're just kind of stomping their feet. They're joining forces together because they know they have no power with the courts or with the public sympathy.
You mean with the power and have to keep playing the players these substantial amount of money?
Yeah, they know they're not going to be able to change this because they're going to lose if they try to challenge it. This whole thing about how the NCAA is trying to say, "Hey, we're going to implement the 5-year plan." No, you're not, because you're just going to get sued.
Yeah,
and you're going to lose, right?
Okay.
So I don't know. But anyway. All right, what else is going on? High Point. Hey, let's get right back into the subject.
Yeah.
I've been told High Point is finished with their roster now. They've added 7 players to who's coming back. We're looking at over $7 million they're going to spend on their 26-27 roster. Your thoughts?
Well, you good luck to the rest of the Big South, because there's another loaded roster. Now, I like the names that they got for the Big South. They'll dominate the league again. They really will. But I still like that team from 2 years ago better. I still do.
I know, me too.
The Jiffa and the Hamilton and that Bodo. Last year's team was unbelievable because of what Rob Martin was able to do in a tournament. He was great.
Yeah.
Those guys fought tooth and nail with Wisconsin. Next year, all the eyes and all the targets going to be on High Point now. They even have Washington State coming to High Point this year. So that shows you the type of money that they got. Look out for the rest of the Big South. There's a guy from Richmond that's going to be, or that went to high school in Richmond, that's going to be on their roster next year. That will be at his 4th school in 4 years. And he's a really good player, but it still blows my mind whenever we talk about college athletics and you have a transfer for the 4th time and is still eligible and able to play. I don't know, maybe I'm just that old school where it's like you shouldn't play for that many schools, but 4 schools in 4 years is crazy to me.
No.
It is insane. And it's the majority of their roster. And it's like, something's got to be done about that. I know we talk about it every single week, but come on, man. 4 schools in 4 years.
What do you think is going to continue to discourage fans more, that or the money? It feels like that, what you're saying, because let's say Tech football, right? James Franklin brings in a class and they have guys who are really good and they contribute and they have 2 or 3 more years. Well, guess what? They're in the portal. What's going to deter fans more? That being able to jump or the continued money these guys are making?
Well, it's definitely the jump. It's both. Like you said, it's both for sure. But it's the entitlement that can come from the money. And it's the lack of, what's the word I'm looking for? The lack of the connection that you have with the program. So it's one thing to be in a program like Radford when you can see Javonte Green come in as a freshman and then leave as a 4th-year guy and see the development and see where his career leads after. Now you'll have guys on your roster, you're like, where is he from? And then you just forget about him the next year. And sometimes you forget to even play for you. It's like, this thing is crazy. It's so unfortunate because at the end of the day, college and sports are also supposed to be about community and the representation. And now we talk about, the rivalries that don't matter anymore. We talk about how it means more to the fans than it does the players, because we know at the end of the day, come March, I'm just going to put my name in the transfer portal and see where I can go, where my next destination is. It sucks. I hate it right now. And something needs to be done about it. We keep talking about something needs to be done about it, but it's easier said from us than the decision makers that actually have the power to do something. We can say it till we're blue in the face, but until those higher ups feel the same way, nothing's going to change.
No, you're right. It's about commitment, and that's not there anymore. And the kids have every financial reason not to be committed, because we would all do the same thing. You think about it. Would you have done this if the system was in your favor back then? If you had this when you were playing at Radford and as you were developing? Can you imagine Javonte, where he would have ended up?
Yeah, no, he would have been big time. He would have been in North Carolina with Roy Williams. That was how he played. That up-tempo, fast pace, he would have been the perfect fit for Roy Williams. But I think I would have stayed loyal. That's just who I am in my core. If it's about money, man, give me something. I'm okay with something, but I would have remained loyal. A lot of these guys aren't graduating. I'm looking at the bigger picture. I'm looking at where my life's going to be 10 years when my career is over. What type of situation I can put myself in my family, just like I am now. I am living a comfortable life right now. I have no complaints about anything. And that started with me being able to finish at Radford, me being able to be a basketball player at Radford, get that scholarship, and continue my education for free at UVA, getting a master's degree. All of that stuff set itself up to where I am now. And if it wasn't for Coach Jones and Coach Byers and Coach Getter and Coach Hawkins and the rest of their coaching staff giving me an opportunity to be at their university, I would not be where I am today. And that's not going to be the case for a lot of these student athletes. A lot of guys are going to enter their name in the transfer portal and be stuck in about 2 months. And they're going to be on Instagram saying, it's hard going from this, a Division I basketball player, to this, loading up boxes at Amazon. And it's unfortunate. A lot of guys aren't as good as they think they are. But if you have a place where your scholarship is going to be guaranteed for the next year for you to set yourself up for the rest of your life, take advantage. That's the best advice I can give you. Or not, or else, like I said, you're going to be on TikTok and Instagram Reels regretting your decision to enter the transfer portal. The grass ain't always greener.
Do you think guys are getting smarter, and gals that are making money, you think they're getting smarter about their money?
Absolutely not.
You think they're just continuing? I wonder, you think there's any desire to have that education. Because like you're saying, if they're not going to play pro ball, what are they going to do, going forward? They're just going to have to settle in these other jobs. And can they be successful thinking, oh, I had all this and now I have to go to that? So that's what people have been saying in chat too, that, what are we doing to try to make these young people ready for society? But you're right. And if they're not taking care of their money now, how are they going to go into a job that's going to be like normal going forward?
Well, hopefully they are smart with their money. I know when you're that young, you think that the world revolves around you and you think every decision that you make isn't going to come back to haunt you in the end. So hopefully they're saving their money. There was a clip that I saw. It was a locker room of one of the teams that was in the NCAA tournament, a high major program. And, we typically, for example, my squad, we will walk into the arena with our jumpsuits on, Radford basketball backpack. Now it's Gucci sweaters and and Louis Vuitton backpacks, and it's not even a representation of the school. It's just flaunting off how much money you got. And get your money. Nobody's hating on it. We love it. Keep getting it. Hopefully you're saving it. But at the same time, it just shows you guys' priority. And it's not with the team. It's not with the institution. It's not with the program. It's with when is that deposit going to hit my bank account so that I can flaunt again.
Yeah.
And, that stuff is expensive. And if you're making what is out there and projecting you're not making good financial decisions with your money, especially the fact that you also have to pay your agents, you have to pay your managers, whoever all these kids have now who's taking a cut because they're making the negotiations for you. So I pray and I hope that they're making the wisest decisions that they possibly can.
Well, and, just going back to the Radford experience last year, what were some of the first things we saw were these very expensive brand new cars.
Yeah.
All over the lot.
Yeah.
It goes with what you're saying. So, wow, you ready for this? I never thought I'd be uttering this. You ready to talk about some NBA playoffs?
Absolutely. Are you kidding me? Because there's a guy that's playing right now. And let me say that. Let me rewind it for a little bit. We talked about Jay-Z earlier. One of his best lines, a wise man told me don't argue with fools because people from a distance can't tell who is who. I'm not arguing with anybody about LeBron James being the best basketball player in the world anymore. But the one fool that I will argue with is you. This guy's unbelievable. I'll say that. Do you see what this guy is doing?
Yeah, but in today's NBA, it doesn't count.
Man, that man is the oldest player in NBA history. I don't want to hear it. This man has played almost the equivalent of 30 years in the NBA if you include play. Man, come on, man. This guy's I just don't get it. I just don't. It's
they
ridiculous.
Beat the Rockets last night, 101-94. Let me ask you this. What, from a Kevin Durant standpoint, has he disappointed from what he was coming? I know he was with Golden State and he kind of did what LeBron did. He joined a super team, so he won some titles. But has he lived up to who he was supposed to be overall? Because he's really kind of become this. So. You think he has?
Absolutely. This guy's about to be 38 years old as well.
I was going to say he's getting on up there, isn't he?
Right. So we're looking at a situation where we become numb to how good he is. And we don't realize that these guys have been playing basketball just as long as LeBron. LeBron probably has about 4 or 5 seasons over him, but at the same time, that guy's no spring chicken either. That guy's young. That guy's old. That is an old guy, and him banging knees and missing game one. Had this been a decade ago, he would have been able to play game one, but now it's an old man injury. And an injury at 37, 38 ain't the same as 26, 27, or 28. He's going to miss time for the simplest things now because that's just how the body works. But to his point, he played about 78 games this season, which is unbelievable for that age. So that's why I say he wasn't a disappointment at all. He gave Houston everything that he could offensively. He's that guy. He's not going to be the greatest leader of the team, but he's going to be the guy that's going to be a hub of that offense so you can pencil in for 25 points a night.
So when does Luka get back?
They said he'll be out for this whole entire series. It's looking like the Lakers are in control because they're up 2-0, but I still don't
win it, yeah.
They should win it, but they're still not better than Houston. I still don't think they are. So if Houston comes back and win the series, I wouldn't be surprised at all.
These are all best of sevens, right? Now
best of 7.
Everything's best of 7.
Houston's going to win game 3, and it's going to be a blowout, I believe. And then the big game is going to be game 5. Whoever wins Game 5 is going to win a series, and it's just that simple. When you don't have Luka, you don't have Austin Reeves, it's just going to be tough for the Lakers. It's going to be tough for Luke Kennard to continue to shoot the ball the way that he's shooting. Marcus Smart played out of his mind yesterday. LeBron rewinded the clock, but you can tell at the end of the game he was gassed. And when you're the oldest player in the NBA, oldest player in NBA history, you can't ask him to carry you every single game. Hopefully Austin Reeves can come back, but I think this series is far from over, even though the Lakers are up 2-0.
Can the Nuggets get back to a championship contending form, or are there just too many good teams stacked in the West, and Jokic can do what he can, but he doesn't have that supporting cast in place that they had a few years ago? What do you think?
Well, I just think that Minnesota is just a bad matchup. So much length, so much athleticism, so much youth. Rudy Gobert, for as many times as people clown him, he is still one of the best defensive players in the history of NBA, in the history of the NBA. And during that last game, Game 2, he showed you why. He did a really good job with Jokic. Now, Jokic is going to come out and punish him during Game 3. But I think Denver's still going to win this series. I think they're one of the better teams in the NBA because they have Nikola Jokic, because he's still considered by many as the best player in the sport. Still unguardable, still can score when he wants, still one of the best playmakers, still one of the best rebounders. So as long as you have him, you have a chance. But I just think Minnesota was just a bad matchup. And that's why you heard reports to end the season of Denver trying to, put themselves in position to where they wouldn't have to play Minnesota, because they knew that's who eliminated in the past, and they know that it's just tough for them to be able to contain what they do defensively against Denver in order to try to, close out a series or win a series against them. It's just tough.
So you think Oklahoma City is going to be that team again? Can they get back in the finals?
I like the Spurs. I really do. I think that when you have a guy like Victor Wembanyama, who had that concussion yesterday, he felt really hard on his face, but they'll take care of Portland. I think it'll be an inevitable situation where you have the Spurs and you have OKC, and then you have a Spurs team that has dominated OKC all season long. I believe they won every matchup but one, and they dominated every matchup but one. And I just think it's just going to be too much for OKC. And when you have Victor Wembanyama, who, in my opinion, is the best player in basketball, you're in a situation where you just will not have an answer for him on either side of the court. You can try to drive it in, but he's 3 defenders by himself. He is one of the only players that I've ever seen with my 2 eyes guard the pick and the roll in the pick and roll action. That's how much length he has. It's just going to be tough for OKC to contain those guys. They want to play against them. They know they can beat them. They know they have the number. So I think it's a situation where OKC had a great season last year, another great season this year, but it ends in the Western Conference Finals for them when they go up against San Antonio and Victor Wembanyama.
What about in the East? Speaking of our guy, Wu, who played every game, by the way, this past year. They're the number 1 seed, but it doesn't feel like they're number 1 seed. They've already lost 1 game in the series to start off. Is this Boston's side of the bracket to lose?
I think so. Boston took an L yesterday to Philly, but that's one of those anomaly games. I think Boston beats Philly in 5. I think it's going to be a smooth gentleman's sweep for Boston to end it. Detroit, I love Cade Cunningham. I love Jalen Duren. But at the end of the day, I'm still not that sold on Detroit. They had a great regular season, but they're one of those teams that you look at and say they can be got in the playoffs. And Orlando showed you why. But what I don't understand about the NBA, and I don't think I ever will understand it, maybe I'll have to ask, an NBA coach this question, but why do the rotations shorten in the playoffs? Why do you have to do that?
Yeah.
A part of Detroit's identity was their ability to go 11 deep. So you go to the playoffs and you switch that up.
Tighten up, yeah.
I just don't understand that. I never have, and hopefully I get a great explanation to where it could change the way I think, because they forgot more basketball than I know. So maybe it's just a situation where they know something that we don't. But I just don't understand why you won 60 games, and it's because of your depth. It's because of how deep you are. And as soon as the playoff starts, you go away from it. That's what part of what made you you. And I just don't get it. I just don't.
It's interesting.
I don't believe in Detroit, though. I don't.
And it didn't used to be that way. I'm just trying to think growing up, whether you're talking about those Celtics or Lakers teams or the Bulls, I don't remember even after 2000.
Yeah.
Even the teams LeBron won his first time, they didn't they didn't do that, did they, with the Cavs or with the Miami
guys
Heat?
got opportunities. Now it's like you're only playing 3, maybe 4 players off of the bench. And I just don't understand it.
Yeah, that's a good point. You're right. You're right. It's like you're handcuffing yourself.
Yeah.
A little bit as a coach.
Yeah, I gotta know. I have to know why, and I have to hit up some of my NBA connections to ask that. I never know. I don't know why I never asked that, but it's just one of those situations where why? I just
no, I'm with you. It makes you,
and it's every team that does it. So it's not like it's exclusive to Detroit. It's every year, every team does it, and especially like you said in the immediate past, the last 5 years, you see that, and I just don't get it. I just don't.
Well, I don't either. It makes good sense. I mean, because that's a lot of cases. That's why you have a good record in the NBA, because you have those guys who are coming off the bench that don't get to play all the time, so they get out there, they're showing their worth. Whereas your starters, if they're not load managing, want to take some time and let. Yeah. So you're right. You're right. All of a sudden you're forcing your starters to play more minutes than they're used to at the most important time of the year.
Yeah, and then when Cade had that collapsed young, Cade Cunningham, the guys, it was a next man up mentality, and they didn't have any tail off as far as wins and losses. They were winning just as much. And now he's back. He's one of the best players in the NBA. He's been unbelievable all season long. But now those guys that's carry you when he was out aren't even getting minutes. I don't know. I don't know. Especially when you're playing against an 8 seed. Come on.
I'm not sure these guys know more basketball forgotten more basketball than you know, my friend. I mean, I think you could probably teach these guys. To be honest with you, to be perfectly honest. So where are we with your school countdown?
23 days.
23 days. First out immediately. Oh, yep. 23. Oh,
yeah.
The number of the greatest basketball player.
Yeah, LeBron James, the guy that's the chosen one.
I was waiting.
The chosen one, right? Yeah.
Set him up on that one. Wade asked, could Keon finally put up an MJ poster? I can't quite make it out on that chosen one.
There's no way. There's no way that guy's going up in here. There's no way.
So he hates MJ and Kobe.
Well, I don't hate MJ. It's just
But you do hate Kobe.
Absolutely not. Kobe was my favorite player before LeBron got into the NBA. He really was. When I started watching basketball in the late 90s, so I would say I remember my mom and brother watching Jordan in 96. I vividly remember I was 3 years old, whatever it was, but I vividly remember that Bulls intro, and then I remember just sticking with watching it. I remember a young Kobe, and then I remember a junior year LeBron James playing on ESPN, and from that, the rest was history. And that wasn't that far apart from 96 to, I think he was a junior in 2022. I'm sorry, 2000. Yeah. I'm sorry.
How old were you when
I was young? I was in elementary school. But I remember him playing, and I remember my brother who was.
You mean when you first saw LeBron?
Yeah. My brother was playing basketball. He ended up playing in Nebraska. He was like, I want you to watch this guy play basketball as a young guy that everybody's talking about. You know, it was no social media back then, so it was word of mouth. So it was like playing this guy's high school game who's a junior in high school. It was 2002, and his name was LeBron. I just fell in love from that day on.
Well, and it makes sense because as much of a hard time as you get for LeBron, but see, that's your childhood. That
absolutely, yes.
We all base it on who we grew up with.
Yep, it's the nostalgia factor and how it makes
exactly.
You feel. Absolutely,
exactly.
Yeah,
and that's why I harken back to my era because that's how I grew up. LeBron was how you grew up, so that's what we take with us into our fanship. I mean,
but for a lot of guys, LeBron's been playing so long; he's a lot of people's era.
Well, that's true. All you current college players and all that stuff. Yeah, right. Absolutely.
I mean, you played 23 years going on year 24. I mean, that's just unheard of.
You cover a lot of ground in terms of people growing up.
That's insane.
You cover a lot of ground. Yeah. That's true. That's true. 23 days. Have you and your beloved talked about where you're going to go immediately? I mean, for a vacation? Are you guys planning on it? The concerts, I guess, are kind of a mini vacation.
Could be. But what I like to do is I like to work summer school. I'm that type of teacher.
See, well, yes,
for going on 9 years now.
Oh, you're the best.
Yeah, I work summer school. I can't get enough of the extra money. I can't. I can't. I don't leave that on the table. I fight tooth and nail to be the guy that's selected for summer school. And what's unique about my district that I currently work in
Yeah.
is that everybody wants to work summer school. But when I was up in, a couple miles north in DC, they couldn't find anyone to work summer school.
They didn't pay. It didn't pay them, yeah.
Except I was the only person that worked summer school. And now it's like, man, what are we doing?
Brandon asked Keon, what's your take on Derrick Rose? Random
Derrick Rose
question.
is a pretty good player. I think, gosh, I love Derrick Rose, the guy that he was, but I am also in the minority saying he was a tad bit overrated. Just a tad bit. There's no way that he should have won MVP over LeBron James that year. And I want you to go back and look it up. And that's
When
why
was that?
LeBron took it.
When
That
was
was
it?
2011, I believe it was.
Okay.
And that's why LeBron took that matchup personally in the playoffs when Miami played Chicago and he guarded them. And they ended up winning the series, Miami and LeBron, 4-1. He shut Derrick Rose down. He took it personal. There was no reason that Derrick Rose should have won that MVP over LeBron that year. A prime LeBron, it's one of those situations where we know that LeBron should have 10 MVPs. Michael Jordan should have 10 to 13 MVPs. It's one of those situations where he just got tired of giving it to him every year. Because
It's like Jokic. It's like Jokic. They don't want to get right.
Right. LeBron had a span where he won it 4 times. He won it 4 times in 5 years. The year that he didn't win, it was the year that Derrick Rose won it.
And Jokic could have 4 in a row, but they don't want to do
Absolutely.
that. So,
and they didn't want him to be on that Larry Bird trajectory.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. That's 100% correct. It's all marketing.
Yeah. Now this year, Shea is going to win it. But at the
who's going to win it?
Shea's going to win it. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander for OKC. But I think that Victor Wembanyama should win it. Because whenever we talk about MVP, the only thing people talk about is offense. That's all that they talk about.
I know.
They never consider the defense.
And that's
Victor
the NBA.
was just the youngest defensive player of the year winner in NBA history. And he was the only unanimous selection in NBA history. And he 100% should have won defensive player of the year last year. This should be his second in a row. He is the best defender I probably ever seen with my 2 eyes because of his length.
And they won't give it to him.
Athleticism and that skill and the way he can move. But he should be the MVP over Shea this year. But they're going to give it to Shea. I know they are.
That'll be back-to-back for him, right?
It'll be back-to-back.
Yeah.
It'll be back-to-back.
All right, brother. Well, listen, great stuff as always. And got the countdown rolling, man.
You're man.
3 weeks out. You're 3 weeks
this
out.
This time next week will be in the teens. Michael Jackson comes out. Michael Jackson, you get your tickets to see Michael?
I saw that. When is that? I saw a trailer for that. When is it coming out?
A lot of people can go see it today if they want. Like around my theater, they're showing some screens today. We're going to see it Friday. I can't wait.
I hope it's good. I may wait till you screen. You know what? That's what we'll do next week. You'll get your review.
Yeah, let's do it.
We'll do a non-spoiler. Well, we already know the story, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
So we'll get your review.
Yeah. I can't wait. I'm excited. I got my tickets already, dude.
All right. Yeah, that's exciting. Yeah, I want to hear about that.
I got you, man. I got you.
All right, brother. Great stuff as always. Have a great rest of your day.
All right, bro.
All right, man. Be good. There you go. Keon Brown. Good stuff. Good stuff. Love Keon. All right, we're going to get Damien on here. Let me get this set up. Sorry, Brandon. Keon did not like Derrick Rose as much as other people. Now people ask me, my favorite players growing up. Wow. I had different guys. Moses Malone was my all-time favorite Houston. That's why I started pulling for the Rockets, Moses Malone, because he was from Virginia. Remember that? How long till they start wearing those helmet condoms during games? I'm starting to see some. Oh, I hate those things. Yeah, I hope not. You see certain guys doing it now. April 24th. Thanks, Chris. Yeah, I want to watch it. I'm going to watch the Michael Jackson. What is it? Kind of a, what do they call those docu? Wayne, are you around? It's a movie, but it's a docu type movie. What do they call? Yeah, those things, I don't know how much they protect. If they do, I'm glad they do. I understand wearing them in practice, but I hope they can do something with the helmet to where those things aren't. It makes the heads look so unusually large. It's like watching bobbleheads play football. And I don't know how much they help. I don't know if anybody's doing any kind of research to see how much they help. Was it just something that was thrown in there to create the illusion that they help. I don't know. I'd like to see the numbers if those helmet pads actually, because it just looks like to me, it's just like maybe they've got more to them than they look like to me. I don't know. I've never really seen one up close. And I get wearing them in practice and things like that. But then again, if you're going to wear them in practice and you go out and play, if you're worried about not having one on. So I've wondered that myself, Prometheus. I really have. I have wondered that myself. Is it biopic? Yeah, biopic. Yeah, thank you. I knew Wayne would know. A biopic. Biopic, everyone's, yeah. Yeah, I want to see it. I do. I want to see it. It's actually a family member, right? It's one of his, Chris Lester, you'll know, right? You're our other pop culture guru. It's like his, is it like Tito's son? Tito's nephew? Is somebody's nephew? I don't know. It's somebody within the family, though, if I'm not mistaken. Speaking of family, there he is, Damian Sordelette, the Virginia Tech beat writer for the Roanoke Times. Good morning, brother. How are you?
Hey, good morning. Glad didn't get caught up in the wind Saturday.
I know, man. First of all, what was the reaction of the press box? You're just sitting there, you're getting ready to unfold, Tech's ready to come out of the tunnel, and oops. Well, I mean, what was the vibe like around all the people up there, man? That had to just be, it was unbelievable. I'm just so glad he's okay. I'm so glad.
Oh, yeah, I'm glad he's fine. He's doing his media tour now.
Yeah, he is.
I think my first reaction was, holy, insert whatever four-letter word included in that.
Right.
Because I saw the second guy go to the practice field. That caught the corner of my eye, and I was like, that's not what was supposed to happen. And then right into it. Yeah, it looked like it hurt. And luckily that the parachute caught to the H, because that was a long drop down, and I'm glad he didn't drop.
Yeah, when Andy Bitter was showing the distance, ooh.
Yeah,
that would not
and
have
showing
gone
the gap.
Yes.
There's a gap in between there, and I was like, at first I was like, man, he's going to drop straight down, and everyone's like, oh, there's a fence there, there's all that. I'm like, I don't think that's the case.
No.
But yeah,
No
from what we kind of could see is the like some of the football staff was getting anything that was inflated, like the tackling pads, tackling dummies, getting those set up so in case he did fall, he's going to land on something that's not concrete. But yeah, shout out to Blacksburg Volunteer Fire Department.
Absolutely.
Getting ladder 12 up there was, with the bucket on top, was huge. Yeah, I mean, delayed the game, started the game for an hour, but I mean, all of us were kind of like, man, that was intense watching that. And we were safely in the confines of the press box, not as a student underneath watching this. So, yeah, glad he's okay. And that's going to make a spring game that I'm never going to forget, because that happened.
Well, Burnip said yesterday when they left the press box, you look up, the parachute was still hanging off the scoreboard. He goes, it's just surreal, just a reminder of what happened.
Yeah, I mean, keep it up till graduation, because you're going to have some seniors who are going to be like, well, I was in the stadium to see this.
That's true.
We had a really crappy final season as a student watching football. Might as well have a parachute hanging up there.
But all right, so what was your take on, first of all, how many people would you guess are there? I mean, I keep hearing people think conservatively about 35,000. I mean, it's hard to know. What do you think? How many people?
It looked like it was half full, so that would be 33. People are throwing out the number of 40. Split the difference, 36.5.
That's a really good crowd. That's a
good crowd. I know Franklin came in and said he was told it was the largest in Virginia Tech history for a spring game. Kind of looked over at Andy, and you could tell he wasn't buying it, because I think the spring game with Marcus Vick at quarterback drew a good number of fans.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. I remember that one. That was.
The entire West stands were full. The students, prior to the skydiving incident, had packed the north end zone. The south end zone, the lower section and that middle section were full, and there's a decent number in the east stands. Not a lot because you didn't want to sit in the sun. So yeah, there's a good showing. I would say about half full. That's what it looked like.
Okay, well, that's good. What'd you like best? What immediately when you think about going back, what you saw, what stood out on a positive?
The tight ends and how they're used.
Yeah.
I mean, you go back to last year, and Philip Montgomery didn't even use the tight ends a lot, and now, I mean, yeah, they ran the naked bootleg however many times because it worked, and if you're just showing a naked bootleg, that's not really showing your entire arsenal. So, that's a good sign. You can tell this offense is going to be quick hitting. Get the ball out of the quarterback's hands, similar to what they did at Penn State, which means the tight end is going to be involved. So I thought the tight ends looked really good. I can see 4 being used throughout the season and being viable pass catchers, from Reynolds, Gosnell, Hairston, St. Germain. And then that allows you to have Aiden Green and Clayshawn Brown as your outside receivers. Because honestly, Luke Reynolds will be a slot guy, and you can put Gosnell hand in dirt at the line of scrimmage if you needed to. So they're in a good spot. Offensive line, I think, is in a better spot. It's just guessing who lines up where right now, and if Logan Howell's ready. But I think from a depth perspective, they're in a much better spot than they were. They're definitely in a much better spot than they were a year ago, because last year you were like, well, who's your 5th guy as your starter? And then it's like, well, who else do we have behind them? Now you can honestly go 11 to 12 deep on the offensive line. I think that's a big improvement from where they were a year ago.
Were you upset? Oh, not upset. That's not the right word. Were you concerned because Andy wrote about the pass rush and it was consistent? Do you think the line is going to have some issues with that? I know they weren't completely healthy, or do you think that's just where we are in the spring right now?
Yeah, it's a byproduct of the fact that you split up the offensive line, and you're throwing the ball a lot. I mean, you're not going to run Overton because you are going to be keeping him safe. He had 5 carries, and he would have had more yards if Polydor wasn't such a good tackler for a freshman. Henderson didn't play in the spring game, Chris. But yeah, I could see Henderson working into the rotation there. But back to the offensive line, if you're running the ball and I would say the offensive line is probably going to look like that first drive where they were started fast, they got into a rhythm, the ball was coming out fast, and as Matt Moore says, if you're getting the ball out fast and you're establishing the run, the pass pro is going to look better, even because you're not blocking as long. So I don't read too much into that just because of the style of it, because you're throwing the ball so much more. I think the offensive line will be fine once they settle in to your starting 5 and then who your next 5 are.
What about defensively? What stood out on that side to you in a positive manner?
Copeland looks like he's going to be a disruptor. I wrote about this when I was doing a projected depth chart. It looks like he is going to have the same type of impact Aeneas Peoples had 2 years ago. And if you're an All-American, that means you made an impact. And that's what Aeneas Peoples was. And I think that's what Kamari Copeland could be. He looked like he had a little something extra. And he was already – last year, he was the best defensive tackle on the team, and I think he's looking even better. And probably the best player in the front 7. He's going to be violent. And then from an edge perspective, it's going to be a team effort. They're going to have to send in body after body after body to wear down these offensive tackles, because Hilson isn't there yet. Malachi Williams isn't there yet. Cortez Harris isn't there yet. They've got all the potential in the world. I have a feeling there's some untapped potential in them that give them a season playing. They're going to be really good. And I think they did a really good job in the portal of identifying those guys to come in and really enforce what Brent Pry wants out of his defensive scheme. And so you'll have Asen Stevens, who for the second straight year a player was not at the spring game because of the sister getting married. Stevens this year, Benji Gosnell last year. So Stevens and Abby, I think, are the front two, but then I think Malachi Williams is going to be pushing for playing time, along with Hilson, Harris, and then throwing Derek Dandy. You're 6 deep at defensive end. I don't see an APR or a Corey Moore or Bruce Smith out of the group, but I think there's potential for these younger guys to get to that point, but it's not there right now, so you're going to have to do it in waves. So, yeah, I think I'm feeling good about the depth at the defensive end spot, even though there's not that one guy. I think collectively they can do some damage.
All right, so let's get to the stuff you didn't like as much, or some things that you thought were maybe something that definitely needs to be worked on.
Let's look at how they distributed passes. And Franklin said after the game, we need our receivers to produce, because you don't want a situation like there was a couple of years ago in the national semifinal where your wide receivers have 0 receptions against Notre Dame. That was what every talking point for the week after that game, when they were talking about Penn State. They're like, man, the wide receivers didn't get involved. I need to see, you get them involved. I need to see them involved more. Quayshawn Brown's touchdown catch was because the defense got so concerned with Luke Reynolds, they left Brown open. So I just, Chris is right. They're not going to be as bad as they were last year in getting the ball to the receivers. I just need to see them do it on a more consistent basis. So that's just what I want to see. That's the one thing I was like, okay, the tight ends, we know what they can do now. I just need to see them target the wide receivers a little bit more.
Yeah, and that's kind of been, wherever James Franklin's gone, that hasn't really been a developmental boon for him, wide receivers, right? You don't ever hear about James Franklin and wide receivers. So, but I get excited about the pro style offense and the 12 personnel and potentially 13. I like that kind of football, and I think I'm glad to see that it's coming back here to Blacksburg.
They're good, and Grunkemeyer is going to target his wide receivers. He just has a rapport with Luke Reynolds because he threw to him last year. That's why you could see him utilized. I thought there was a throw up the seam to Reynolds on the first drive where he made that with confidence. I have a feeling he'll be able to do that with his wide receivers as well. I feel good about Green and Brown as the top wide receivers. And honestly, Tyshear Denmark, he looked good. And Doug Shearer even mentioned he could be a punt returner as well. So Tyshear Denmark is going to factor into the offense this season. And I'd like to see Snoop Peterkin in full football shape after spending the winter with the basketball program. I think he's ready to take another step.
So all in all, I guess the 2 injuries, one we thought was going to be a lot more serious. Apparently the cornerback's going to be okay. He says he is. So apparently that was good news. Not so sure on the other one. Mike Burnett was talking about that yesterday. Have you heard any updates on the 2 guys that went down?
Well, yeah, Jock White is active on social media, so I'm assuming he's okay. That was the one where everyone's holding their breaths because Jock White's cornerback 1. You could just see, he fits perfectly at the boundary spot. He's physical. He likes to tackle. He gets good reads on the ball. Yeah, he's good. Zeke Chinwike is the other one. He had his right knee iced up pretty good. As they were carting him back to the locker room after the game. He was a depth piece there at defensive end, guy that you wanted to develop because I believe he's a redshirt freshman, so you wanted to get him developed, and hopefully it's not a big setback. I have a feeling he'll be fine for the season. White, if he's good to go for the summer, that's a big boom because he and I think Josh Clark are going to be a pretty good tandem there on the outside. And talking to Clark last week, he studied a lot of Dorian Strong film when he got here, and that was Dorian's last year, so they overlapped for a year. And he said he studied a lot of Dorian, and his body looks like Dorian Strong's in terms of his length and how physical he can be. So I think that was a good guy to study because Dorian Strong was vastly overlooked during his time at Virginia Tech. The numbers he put up in coverage were insane over the last 2 years once he came back from the injury. And if Josh Clark can play to that level, Virginia Tech's going to be really good at cornerback. And they got depth there. We didn't see Chadwick. He was out with injury. We didn't see Thomas Williams. He was out with injury. I mentioned Polydor, who looked really good. And I think Wosley and IBM can factor in at nickel. And they show they can play outside. They primarily played IBM at nickel, which was interesting. I think they only got 1 or 2 drives at outside corner because I think they're trying to get to a point where IBM focuses on nickel, and then you can have Polydor get more reps because I think Polydor, as a freshman, could be in the rotation this year, but I think you want to redshirt him. I know that's kind of a forbidden word these days. But yeah. I'm really excited about Polydor. He looked good. There was 2 open field tackles he made against Overton that, look, Miami players couldn't even make last year. And I think if Polydor is a good tackler now and you get him to get the freshman tendencies out of his system and get him to playing within the scheme, he's going to be good. They hit a home run on that one.
You think eventually, and we're starting to see it some places, do you think the actual spring game will start to be replaced by coaches? I mean, it had to be this year, first-year coach. I see a lot of talk around X and so forth that these things might go away. They want something to be more productive. What do you think? It's a showcase. I know you're trying to get more money and you're trying to get more people to come and give money to your program. So from that standpoint, it's a marketing boon, but we talked to Todd Grantham, at UAB, they didn't have a spring game. They wanted to do good on good for a whole 2-hour scrimmage, and they didn't do all that, the pomp and circumstance. So what do you think the future of spring games are, I guess?
I guess it depends. I mean, you're right. The spring game.
It's for fans.
It is.
That's all it is.
It's a good way to, as Franklin mentioned, it's a good way to keep the excitement going. And he had to do this way because
he did.
The excitement's going. He's got momentum. I don't know. I mean, I could see it being phased out if they want to go to the summer workouts where you have like a OTA style, and you just have, I don't know if you put them in pads or not. But I could see them going to the NFL style where the spring's used for conditioning and recovery, and then you get your entire roster in place for the summer. And then you have your 15 practices there. I don't know if you want to do it like the NFL does for its OTAs where you have like these stands where they can come in and watch some of the practices. I don't know if you want to do that, but I can see them going that direction, possibly.
Yeah.
Where big donors can pay to come watch some practices or something like that. I mean,
yeah, make them feel like this is your little private opportunity. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. You kind of tickle that spot a little bit. I get that. We'll see. Yeah. I don't know. It's just interesting to see the different philosophies about it. I bet you if you polled coaches around P4s, they'd tell you they'd rather not have to put on an actual spring game like that.
Right. But none of them are being televised anymore.
That's the thing, right?
The ACC gave the teams the option of televising the spring game or helping produce a 1-hour program where you have interviews and you have highlights, either from practices or the spring game. Virginia Tech, for the second straight year, chose we're not televising the spring game. We're going to go to the 1-hour programming. So everyone who was like, yeah, that's what we see on the ACC Network Extra coming up. That's what that is. Yeah.
Trying to think, why would you? I guess they're worried about showing things right on their spring game. I guess.
Yeah, but at the same time, if you can package something together that serves as a marketing tool, not only for fans but also for recruits, you do that. That's why I see it, because you layer in several interviews, a few highlights here and there, that honestly Virginia Tech can submit. Virginia Tech can submit the camera angles they want. They can make sure, like, you're not putting out an all 22 video footage. You're putting in a tight shot that really doesn't show certain aspects of the game. And Chris is right. The spring game is a huge moneymaker for Blacksburg. And if you schedule it each year around like the weekend of April 16th, people are going to come, because there was like 16,000, close to 17,000 who ran in the Run for Remembrance. You already have a lot of people on campus.
Well, that's true. Might
as well have a spring game. I mean, for Virginia Tech, it makes sense.
Was it that big? Wow, that's awesome. 16,000.
Yeah, Virginia Tech put out. Virginia Tech actually put in the when they released the numbers for the Run for Remembrance, because you have to register for that. It was somewhere between 16 to 17,000.
That's cool. I mean, I love that. I love the fact something like it's growing and growing and growing, right? Each and every year. That's cool.
And if you're going to have that many people show up to run, most of them, if not all of them, are going to stick around for the spring game.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot there that weekend. They've made it into a big weekend with softball and baseball, so I'm guessing things will stay the same. So it's good.
Yeah.
It's good. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you had lacrosse against UVA on Thursday night. If they could have gotten that game on Friday, I know that would have stretched the sports information department thin. But yeah, Wayne's right, 20th-year anniversary of that next year. I think I haven't looked at my calendar yet, but I'm trying to see when April 16th falls next year. I think that's going to be that's on a Friday, so I have to do a whole weekend. Like, 20th anniversary, you have an entire weekend. You have the spring game on Saturday.
20 years. Wow.
I know.
Crazy. So did you see the images from the Virginia spring game? You think that was legit? It looked like they had maybe 10,000 at their game.
It doesn't surprise me.
I saw people were saying that those weren't real, but if those were real shots, then I don't know what we're doing there in Charlottesville. I mean, you just won the ACC regular season, for goodness sake. You just played in the title game, for goodness sake. Jeez.
Yeah, but I mean, I was trying to remember if baseball was at home, and some of these other sports. But again, like, UVA doesn't get a lot of, like, the fan support isn't as good as UVA as it is Virginia Tech. I just want to make that perfectly clear.
No, not even close.
And from what I haven't been hearing Tony Elliott trying to hype up the community there as much as James Franklin's been hyping up Blacksburg and Christiansburg to draw in. But spring game's always been a big deal for Virginia Tech and Blacksburg. I don't think UVA's put as much of an emphasis on that.
No.
So until UVA says, hey, come out to the spring game, we want to see you there.
I mean, Tony Elliott signed an extension. It just kind of nobody. Okay, that's great. That's great.
I know Tony Elliott signed an extension after one good season. I mean, I've heard that story before, someone has a really good year and they're like, oh yeah, we need to extend you, we need to keep you in place.
Oh,
and
yeah,
then they
yeah.
revert back to what they were their first handful of years. But I think Tony Elliott's done a good job mastering the portal, and he's found a way to get people to give money to help with that, bring in players.
He evaluated well last year. Just last year. He did a good job of evaluating players.
Yeah, and right now we need to see how he evaluated. We'll see how Bo Pribula looks.
Yeah.
Live, and the such. And again, I still want to see Virginia Tech against another team to see if this team's legit. I mean, the players in place. This team is significantly deeper than it was at this point a year ago. I just need to see it in action.
Well, so what happens now for you guys around Tech football? You're just going to go quiet for a while. I mean, I know they're going to be working behind the scenes, obviously, but do you have any idea when the next opportunity to kind of get an update and things might happen?
Yeah, I know in the past with Pry, Andy and I would have a chance to sit down with him to post spring. Probably will be. I know the recruiting's coming up, and Franklin's going to meet with everyone. There's no exit meetings this year because there's no spring portal window. So we'll see. We'll see if Franklin's open to talking with us afterwards. I'd really like to just get a sense of where he thinks things are. He'll probably say a lot of the same. We got a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
Everything is.
Yeah, no, I'm with you.
Every position still a competition. Though Grunkemeyer is your clear QB1.
Clear QB1, yeah.
I'm of the opinion that Overton could start over Hawkins just because I think Overton is.
That's the White Vicks guy. I think so too. Feels like that.
Yeah, Overton's. That kid's going to be a problem. For teams. And then linebackers, I feel really good about with Chambers, Wiley, and Spencer as your top three. And then even with Jones and Gabe Williams there in the second string, I feel better about the depth and how Pry's using them this year. And then safety-wise, one of the concerns I have behind safety is behind Reddish and Flowers, no safety has played more than 1 year at the position in college. So there's a ton of talent there. Chris brought up Tyrell Grant. I thought Knowledge Harrell looked good at safety in his limited reps. And then, of course, Sheldon Robinson looks like he's picked up from where he was last year. But again, I'd like to bring those guys along at a more natural pace in terms of development. So Reddish and Flowers staying healthy will be key this year. So that way you can steadily bring along those young guys and not throw them into the fire immediately. Because I think Tyrell Grant could be a contributor at the end of this year, early in next year. He looked good. Again, James Franklin did a heck of a job recruiting those guys. Flipping Grant as well from Syracuse and bringing in the guys he thought could contribute immediately from Penn, who were committed to Penn State to Virginia Tech. So, again, I think I feel better about the entire roster, top to bottom, compared to last year. I just want to see it, against another team. I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid just yet. I do want to see this team against. Don't lose to ODU. And if you can go and get your first non-conference,
that's the key.
If you go and beat a P4 non-conference team for the first time since nearly a decade, then I'll start to be like, okay, Franklin's got something cooking here.
That's the game for me too. The Maryland game is the one where I think that's the first big game for them.
Oh yeah,
so, and avenging ODU, which I think should happen. But that's the game. I agree. So, all right, brother. Well, listen. What are you going to do now? You just gotta. What are you covering this summer? Who you got?
Probably keeping up with the Rail Yard Dogs right now because they're in their semifinal round. Then Red Jacks, and then got golf coming up, so I'll be out golf courses.
Oh,
I'll answer
sweet.
Prometheus' question.
Yeah.
Malachi Williams, Javion Hilson, and Cortez Harris will be the team's best pass rushers this year. Unless Asen Stevens and Jason Abbey have taken gigantic steps forward, Williams, Hilson, and Harris will probably be the team's best pass rushers. Hilson showed why he was a big time recruit coming out of high school. The length, his size, his get off speed. I mean, he's got the elements of Antoine Powell-Ryland in a bigger body, which means he can't get overwhelmed by offensive tackles. Chris, I don't disagree with you on that. I don't disagree with you on that at all. But if they're ready to play, I'll definitely put them in. But Flowers just has the experience and the leadership that I don't think you want to take him off the field just yet. But I could see a point during the season where one of those two supplant him in the rotation.
All right, man. Well, listen, great stuff as always. We'll resume next week. We'll see what develops, not only at Tech but at other places. And I appreciate you, brother. Have a great rest.
Absolutely. Have a great week.
All right, man. Be good. There you go.
You
Damian Sordelet, the best. We appreciate him as always. Thanks, DS. Appreciate all of our sponsors as well. Thanks to Lawson's Mobile Home Supply since 1997. Give James a call, 540-381-8011. They have parts for your home, windows, doors, plumbing supplies. They've got it. The NRB Super Bowl, go see them. 540-382-5525. That's where we're going to do our BDST meetup with Morris and the gang. We're going to be looking at it some point during the summer. Coach Elmo was trying to get some info, and I said, look, you let us know it works, and we'll try to work it around. But give Terry Stike a call and go spend your time at the Super Bowl this weekend. Thanks to Brandon at Top Shelf Apparel for making our T-shirts. Appreciate that. Thanks to Sundown Electric and the Smith Brothers. Thanks, Jeff. Appreciate you. List of satisfied clients, superior craftsmanship, attention to detail, clear communication, honest about their pricing and the work they're going to do. They are the best. Ready Set Fund with Bob Christ, BOBCRST11 at Gmail. ReadySetFund.com if you want your organization, your sports team, whatever it might be, church group, school group, raise some money, reach out to them. Professional Door Incorporated, residential, commercial garage doors, family and operated, 38 years in business. Thank you so much, Travis Williams, sponsor of our always busy text line, always, during show and not. National Bank member FDIC is the exclusive banking partner of me and obviously of BDST. Thank you. We asked the question yesterday, the attorney Ryan Price, 701 West Main Street. What are we going to do about college athletics? What's the biggest fix? So far, people want the transfer portal fix first. That's going to win, I think. It's got a pretty substantial lead. So I have a couple days, though. Little River Heating and Air, 1095 Radford Street in Christiansburg, 540-553-2971. I've actually had people come up to me and thanking them for mentioning Little River Heating and Air. They said they came to their houses and they had the same experience I did because you panic a lot when your heating and air is messed up, and they just alleviate that panic very quickly. We are presented every day by Pulaski County Sports and Entertainment, and I'm just still so honored to be able to say that every day, considering that's where I grew up. Thanks to Tim Miller. Thanks to Jonathan Sweet. Remember that Sportsplex is still on schedule, which is amazing, 165,000 square feet. And the grand opening is scheduled for October of 2026. And once it's complete, the Pulaski County Sportsplex will serve as a robust community recreation wellness center, as well as a premier destination venue for sports tourism and entertainment activities and events. Awesome. Just awesome. Growing Pulaski. And then some. Thanks to McClellan Chiropractic, Mark Hunley, 155 Walters Drive. You need to get your back or whatever fixed. Go see those guys. And Family Fencing, sponsor of our studios here in Reiner, 540-200-8294. Reach out to Jason Green at familyfencingnrv.com. I see their truck all over the place now. which is good. Very, very good. Big Dog bobblehead merch. A bobblehead would be cool. Now, some might say I already have a bobblehead. Yeah. Prometheus says, I'm thinking the Tech offense is going to be pretty good. Green and Brown, Hawkins and Over and Gosnell. Yeah, I think the offensive line. I mean, that's what I'm waiting on. I want to see the development of the offensive line. That's kind of what I said from the beginning. And all these other skill positions and all these things, they're important, clearly, obviously. But let's see the development of that offensive line. Let's see if they can pass protect. Let's see if they can open up running lanes. That's going to be my key to the whole thing, like it has been. Well, it never got fixed under Brent Pry. And I want to see that develop. And if that develops, this team could be surprisingly good, I think. They have to be able to, they have to run the ball. They have to have an offensive line that's not going to make your quarterback panic, because you're not always going to be able to release it quickly like you want. That's what I want to see. I know Grunkemeyer is going to be good. I know Reynolds is going to be good. I think they have running backs who can be dynamic. Brown's going to be great in the slot. But I want to see how that offensive line performs. And if it gets off to a good start, which it should, VMI, I don't know anything about ODU's roster. Somebody sent me a text message yesterday. I've heard that Ricky Ronnie did a nice job filling his roster because he lost a lot. He got purged a lot by P4s. I don't know much about it. I'm not going to sit here and try to pretend I do. I mean, you got kids coming from all over. I mean, obviously, they were the better team last year at too many positions, which never should have happened. And all that's on Brent Pry. He never developed talent on that roster, didn't evaluate the right kind of kids for the most part. He had a couple of big splashes on offense. I mean, Bashal Tootin was going to be good. But, man, when Old Dominion comes into Lane Stadium and they look better at least 15 of the positions, that shows you the lack of talent that was in Tech's football program under Brent Pry. I mean, that's just fact. I don't think that'll be the case this year when they play. What's up, Thunderman? What's up, NRB Thunderman? I didn't see two offensive lines last weekend, but hope they come together outside of a scrimmage that we have one line with some depth. Yeah, starting five that you can rely on, and then have good players that you can come in if some guys get hurt or need a breather. Yeah. That was Armageddon. Dwight and I went on, stayed on for, I don't know, a few hours, and people were so mad. He was angry. And I don't blame him. Never thought I'd see the day when Old Dominion had beaten Tech, but you didn't think that they were better. And you never thought you'd see the day that it was that difference in talent level. And that's what we saw last year. No doubt. No doubt. Ron Shelburne, the Radford Hall of Famer, coming up in just a little bit. Joining us now is that gentleman. David Teal. What's up, David? Good morning, Hall of Famer. How are you?
Good morning, Rick.
Hey, man, how was your trip to Blacksburg? And just some of your thoughts. How surreal was it with the incident in the parachute? And thank goodness the gentleman is okay. He's going around making his media tour. He's telling everybody what happened, man. It ended up being a good story for him. But, man, oh, man, unbelievable visuals coming out of Blacksburg on Saturday.
Yeah, not what anybody was expecting. I wasn't expecting skydivers, to be honest with you. When I saw him coming in, start jumping, I'm like, really, for a spring game? This seems a little over the top. And I'm like, okay, James Franklin, we're trying to hype this thing. But if you were watching him the whole way, which I was, it was like a slow motion car wreck. You could see him drifting, and you're like, he's not going to make it. And then you're thinking, holy crap, he's going to hit that board. And then it's just a matter of, is he going to survive or is he going to fall?
Right.
Because that fall, that would have been it. And thank goodness that parachute caught on the top of the board.
I know. If not, I tell you, when they were showing the ground shots, there's no way. I mean, there's no way you'd have been okay if that would have happened. So, but thank goodness. I know Burnup was telling us yesterday it was surreal to walk out of the press box and still see the parachute hanging on the scoreboard.
Yeah, no, it was. And I was talking to our mutual friend Bill Roth on Sunday, and he compared it to Al Michaels being on the air when the earthquake hit in the World Series. You know, it's the last thing you're expecting.
That's true.
And there, he and Mike are on the air for a spring game. You know, about as routine a broadcast, as forgettable a broadcast as either of them ever has on the docket. And then all of a sudden, there's a dude who, oh, by the way, we didn't know it in the moment, happens to be a war hero.
Yeah.
You know, 2-time Purple Heart, 1-time Medal of Valor, and all of a sudden he's dangling there from a scoreboard. God bless Mike and Bill as they, and Zach Mackey, who was their sideline guy, as they tried to make sense of that for more than half an hour.
Yeah. Mike said they never broke away. They just kept trying to update people, about the situation. So they did a great job. Which is not shocking in any way, shape, or form. But you had a good piece on your experience over there, and you had a good, really, as usual, a really good take about what this whole thing means this whole month, about the changes revolving around the football program. And we're not just talking about how good they might look on the field, but what this means overall for Virginia Tech.
Yeah, I mean, Rick, the changes at Virginia Tech go far beyond James Franklin arriving as the football coach in November. And this month has really punctuated that with the presidential announcement and Tim Sands' departure. You've got John Boleyn retiring in June. Whit Babcock confirmed. We've all kind of known it was coming, but Babcock confirmed that to the Board of Visitors at its recent meeting. And then the announcement on the eve of the spring game that Danny White is moving into a deputy AD role, which is a promotion for him. But in so doing, will no longer oversee the Hokie Club. And that a search is underway immediately for a dedicated director to the Hokie Club, focused solely on fundraising, which, given that $120 million of this 239.2 is supposed to come from fundraising, makes perfect sense. You got to have somebody whose job it is 24/7 to be out there asking people for money and closing deals.
I mean, it makes sense. The structure of it makes sense going forward. We'll see how that works out. The ask continues to be made, and people have been very generous. So maybe when the excitement wears off, they'll have a little more work cut out for them. But I don't know. I think it's going to continue to build momentum.
A lot of that will depend on the product on the field.
That's right. And segueing into that, what were some of your? I know it's hard. It's a spring game. You don't want ever. But what did you see that you were like, okay, this looks a little different than maybe you've seen in the past?
Well, the obvious difference was the tight end usage, which is not surprising given James Franklin and Ty Howell's history with tight ends at Penn State. And now Ty Howell comes with James Franklin. He was his tight ends coach in Happy Valley, where, among other pupils, they had Tyler Warren, who was an absolute unicorn of a tight end, the Mackey Award winner, a first-team All-American. They used him in so many different roles at Penn State. And now Ty Howell is not only coaching tight ends at Virginia Tech, he's the OC. So you had to figure if he has the horses in that room, they're going to use him. They're going to ride him. And they do have the horses. That might be, along with cornerback, the deepest and most talented position group on the roster. You have Luke Reynolds coming in from Penn State. He had been a 4 or 5 star recruit and didn't have a lot of numbers last season, but it was his first with the Nittany Lions. And then you've got a group here, holdovers in Benji Gosnell and Jarikas Hairston and Harrison St. Germain. So you got 4 guys who can contribute. And sure enough, those 4 guys combined for 16 catches and 190 yards on Saturday in the spring game.
Well, people are asking, did you get enough view of the offensive line? Could you tell if they you think they might have a better year, or is that kind of impossible to tell with the way the game was structured?
Well, I think it was impossible to tell for a couple of reasons. Number one, the group was split up. So it was, you didn't have the true first group. And then Howland, the transfer from Oklahoma, who almost certainly projects as a starting left tackle, he was out this spring. He's recovering from an injury. So we're not going to get a glimpse of this offensive line, really. And I'm not going to put much, if any, stock in the VMI game.
Yeah.
Really until they get into the meat of the schedule. And then we'll know.
You had on Tech Sideline, you guys did your podcast. I thought it was very interesting. These are the kind of things the fans love. How'd you go about ranking the coaches in the ACC? That's pretty cool. Those are fun things for fans.
Well, I think it is, especially given James Franklin's status as he comes in from Penn State. I mean, this guy's got a 681 win percentage. And it's not just from Penn State. It was at Vanderbilt. And the guy won 9 games in consecutive seasons at Vanderbilt. Absolutely unheard of. And that's before the transfer portal and NIL. And those things made roster flips far more prevalent. So his chops, to my mind, are second only to Dabo's among ACC coaches. But both of Dabo's national championships came in a much different era of college football.
Yeah, it's true.
He has not pivoted well into the new world. James Franklin has. I mean, it was just 2 years ago, he's in the CFB semifinals and he's 1 drive away from playing for the national championship. So he's proven that he can do it at this level under these working conditions. Can he do it at Virginia Tech with fewer resources than he had at Penn State? We're about to find out. But I don't think the Hokies could have asked for a more credentialed head coach.
No, that's a good place to start. I'm guessing Jeff Brom had to be pretty high up there too.
He was. I'll tell you what, though, if I'm buying stock in a coach for, say, 5 years down the road, I'm buying a whole lot of Rhett Lashley stock.
Yeah.
Because that school has resources
upon
resources. And Rhett Lashley in 3 years there has been just fabulously successful. And he's been to the college football playoff. And in 2 years of ACC membership, he's 14-2 in the league, including going unbeaten in his first season. So the Mustangs they're going to be players in this conference.
They are
for the foreseeable future. And Rhett Lashley, all he does is churn out offenses that average about 35 points a game.
Yes.
Does it every year. And I'll be surprised with Kevin Jennings back at quarterback if he doesn't do it again this season. Guy can coach offense flat out.
Our AD at Radford, who worked at SMU, Robert Lindenberg, said, "You're never going to hear SMU ever say they don't have money." And I don't think I've ever heard any complaint. They actually waived. They waived the TV money. We got it. We got what we did. Yeah. What did you get any vibes from the UVA game? I know you weren't there, but Tony Elliott got an extension. A lot of shots of the crowd. Didn't look like they had a massive turnout, but anything at all coming out of Charlottesville's game on Saturday?
The spring game is not a thing.
It's just
It never has been. You can roll up into the parking lot right outside Scott Stadium and get yourself a spot. It's not that big a thing. but they've got their two quarterbacks. The Cavaliers also had a host of players missing because of injury, but all eyes were on Perdue and Eli Holstein, the quarterbacks. And to me, the story at Virginia going into preseason is the offensive line and just how stocked they are at that position. Such a crucial position in the game. And if you look at Virginia's projected starting five, Rick, they have a combined 161 Division I starts and more than 11,000 snaps among them.
That's incredible.
What Virginia Tech or any other FBS program wouldn't do to have that kind of seasoning up front. And oh, by the way, and it's not like it's just some dudes who have played at local levels and not done anything. 4 of the 5 have been all conference, either all ACC or all Sun Belt. These guys can play.
And I'm telling you, when you can start with that gets you ahead of so many schools. It really does. So quarterback's obviously important. He's got to have that line. And to hear that's Tony Elliott's got to feel pretty good about things if he's got that coming, I mean,
well,
really.
He feels really good about that spot.
Woo.
And the interesting thing is, they've got to change the offensive line coaching position because Terry Heffernan left to become the offensive coordinator at Stanford. And what they did is they promoted from within and made Joey Ork, who had been an analyst, he's now their offensive line coach. And where did Joey Ork get his coaching start? As a graduate assistant under one James Franklin at Vanderbilt.
Interesting. The tie-ins, the relationships always amaze me throughout sports like that. That's cool. Hey, Eric's asking, before you let him go, can you ask David, where did you put Bill Belichick? He's a Carolina fan. Curiosity from on his rankings.
We didn't rank them 1 through 17.
Oh, okay.
But I imagine if we had gotten down there, Belichick would have been no better than middle of the pack.
Yeah, because you got to base it on what he's done at this level, right?
Yes.
I mean,
correct. Sorry. As insane as it sounds, Super Bowls don't count.
They don't matter now. What are you covering this weekend? Are you just writing? What do you got going on this weekend?
I'm going to go up to Short Pump on Saturday night to see the induction ceremonies of the Virginia Sports Hall of Fame. And Michael Vick is among the inductees. And so is my dear friend Boo Williams, who has run AAU basketball programs for boys and girls for so many decades here in Hampton Roads. And also among the inductees is one Tony Bennett.
Yeah.
And always good to see Tony. And so be a large UVA contingent because Wally Walker is also going into the hall. It is a stellar class. And I'm just looking forward to seeing some folks Saturday night outside of Richmond.
That'll be awesome. I can't wait to hear about that experience. Well, have a great time. I know you will. And be safe and have a good weekend, man. Have some good time not covering spring football for a while.
Exactly. Thanks, Rick. Be well.
Thanks, brother. You too, brother. Take care, man. David Teal, the Hall of Famer. There's some fun right there now. He's got a night ahead of him Saturday. Hall of Fame induction. Ron Shelburne going to join us here. Got to get Ron his invite out. Great guests. Keon, and Damien, and David. Big Ron. Great guests. Yeah, SMU's never, ever going to have any problems with anything. They're not going to complain about anything, and they're not going to – they're never going to worry about money. Ever. I mean, they waived their take, right, on the TV money. Don't need it. We don't need your money, ACC. Just let us in your league. We got it. We got you covered. What's the entry fee? No worries. 48 hours later, here you go. We ready? Can we go? Can we play? Oil money is very sound money. This just in, but oil money is good money. And they will never, ever have a problem. All right, Ron, no problem, brother. He says he's having a problem with his email. Just see if I need to send another invite, let me know. No worries, no worries. Hope everybody's doing well, wherever you might be. Here on a Wednesdays, we bounce over the hump together. Thanks to Family Fencing, McClellan Chiropractic, thanks to the NRB Super Bowl, Lawson's Mobile Home Supply, Professional Door Incorporated, Pulaski County Sports and Entertainment, Little River Heating and Air, the attorney Ryan Pry. Thanks to National Bank, member FDIC, Top Shelf Apparel, Professional Doors, I mentioned, Ready Set Fund, Sundown Electric. Great stuff. Oh, let's see. Here's an update from Ron. Oh, I got to send it to a different one. Okay. This is why you leave your phone handy. I will do it, Morris. We're getting him on here right now. He had an email shift here, which I have happened to me all the time. I get stuff kicked back to me all the time. It's like, let me make sure I got that right here. Gmail. Oh, there you go. And I sure don't because I spelled mail wrong. How do you spell Gmail wrong? I do that all the time. It's Gmail, by the way. Shelburne with an E. There we go. Now we're locked in. I always do Gmial. For some reason, I go that route. All right. Let me tell him it's done. Yeah, the Pony Express, when they were giving money to Craig James and Eric Dickerson, the death penalty, right? Wow. You need a new drug dealer. I do. All right, there we go. We may have shifted emails, but we got the same Hall of Famer, Roddy Shelburne. What's up, number 42?
Hey, I've been listening to you. I don't know what happened with my email. My email just shut down for whatever reason. I
know. Yeah.
Just shut down. You know, I use that excuse at work all the time. Man, I didn't get the email. Must be on the fritz.
Let's talk about your trip. You've been traveling, my friend. That's pretty cool. Tell us about that, you and the family.
I have been. We stayed, I'm not making this up. We stayed at a hotel in Dublin, Ireland, Dublin, Ireland, not Dublin, Virginia. I heard all my friends. I heard all the things. Oh,
you're in
Dublin,
Ireland,
Virginia.
Yeah.
And stayed at a hotel called the Shelburne.
Are you kidding me? That's great.
With an O. Apparently, way back in the day, Shelburne was a pretty nice name over there in Ireland. And I even had a T-shirt made up, said Shelburne on it, but it didn't do me any good. But yeah, whoever the guy who founded the hotel, fun fact, for whatever reason, nobody knows why I stuck an O in it. So we stayed at the Shelburne in Dublin, Ireland, which was pretty cool. And the whole week I'm over there, I couldn't help but think of our too soon departed great friend, Stevie Barber, who every time, even up till the last time I talked to him, he would always say, "Hello, Ron Shelburne. What are you doing?" I don't know why. Back in 1988, he locked in on Shelburne is how my name should be pronounced. So anyway, I thought of old Stevie while I was over there. So
yeah, and I was always Ricky Waddy. Always. The 2 years he did the games with me, he would always, hey,
yeah.
Ricky Waddy, what's up, buddy? Yeah,
Ricky Waddy, he always had a name for everybody.
He had a name for everybody. God, I miss him. God, I miss him.
Oh, yes, very much so. One of the greats.
Oh, one of the greats. And one of the greats people, too, not just players.
Mm-hmm.
People, yeah.
100%.
Well, that's awesome, man. So you guys were there about a week? Was it a full week? Or
Yeah. We flew out on a Friday, and actually it was about 6 days, and then got back Thursday night. So it honestly, it was great. It was 80, 90 degrees here. Over there, pretty much. I mean, you had to bundle up each day. We lucked out. We had some nice sunny weather, but you had to have a hat and a coat on. And it was interesting. That country, they had a national fuel protest. And
really?
Kind of their stated goal. Yeah, as soon as we came in on the bus early, like at 8 a.m. on a Saturday morning, because we flew all night, there was a street just lined up with tractors. And I knew that wasn't a display, somebody having a sale or anything, but the farmers over there, farming's big in Ireland, and they were leading the fuel protest. I think a gallon of gas is about 4 times what it costs here, but 60% of that cost is for taxes. And so the farmers were kind of taking the lead on this, and they pretty much had the support, and they were trying to literally shut the country down to be heard. And one day we took off on a tour on their interstate system, and coming at us, there was the lanes were backed up. For a second, I thought I was driving to Roanoke, and Interstate 81 was blocked again. Might as well have been, same effect. But there were 2 huge tractors. I think a John Deere Mass. I'm going to recognize what brand it is. A John Deere Massey Ferguson tractor. Each lane just going 10 miles an hour, doing what tractors do, and had it backed up. But supposedly it was the support of the people, and I think they kind of came to a preliminary agreement. Okay, look, we hear you. Let's just keep the country open, and we'll make some changes. And I think it was effective. And the people had enough. The people spoke, Big Dog.
Well, it's nice to see things like that actually work in certain countries.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. Morris is asking, Ron, was this a Virginia Farm Bureau roundtable trip? Is what he said.
That's exactly right. Morris knows he knows the deal from the insurance game, and he also must know me because I'm probably a little too tight to go over there and stay at a nice hotel like that. I would have been looking for some kind of Airbnb in the tough part of town. But yes, it was a Virginia Farm Bureau trip. They always treat us good. You have to, as my dad said, you have to take a couple years off your life to win each one of them. But that was just Dad being funny. But that's what we were there for. Great trip, great fellowship.
Tony Powell says, Big Ron worked so hard, became such a force. I remember watching him progress as a player, one of the best people to ever come out of PCHS. I do remember that as well. You worked. When did you realize, okay, basketball is my thing, right? This is going to be it. Yeah. I think I can. Do you remember when you dedicated yourself to just, doing what you needed to do to become the player you were?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And it was at several different levels. And when I was at Dublin Middle School, again, someone who departed recently and way too soon, our good friend Buddy Ferris.
Oh, yeah. He just passed away recently. Yeah.
He did. One of the great ones. One of
great
the great
coach.
ones.
Yeah, absolutely. Coach Ferris was a great guy.
Yeah.
Great.
And, hey, that's one of those. David Till was talking about the induction ceremony this weekend, which sounds like an incredible class. But, hey, Buddy Ferris probably would be a good one to get in there. But Buddy Ferris, as with several other Pulaski coaches, Alan Wiley, Pat Burns, definitely all those folks. But Buddy kept trying to get me to come out for basketball. And I remember him saying, if you put the time in, I'll work with you. And he seemed so disheartened. And I never did. I don't know. I never did. Somewhere in the middle of my 8th grade year, the season had already started. I thought, you know what? I want to play basketball next year when I get to high school. So Mickey Hickman kept me around, didn't cut me, had me on the JV team, and every day worked with me at the beginning. And I was always, again, you've heard me say it 1,000 times, blessed with great coaches. Hickman worked with me. Arthur Johnson worked with me. And, those guys instilled confidence in me. And they said, this is what you need to do. And I did it. So in 9th grade, I just started dedicating myself. And again, a lot of it, I didn't know what to do. So I just grabbed a basketball and would run on the road, dribbling the basketball from my house to Snowville Elementary School.
Wow.
Where there was a little court. And, and would just go up there and shoot baskets. I didn't know what to do. But then every now and then, the coach, you'd get with the coaches and then they give you a little more structure. And, then of course played for Coach Wiley for 2 years. He puts me in the lineup. Very fortunate. I was able to, I don't want to say secure a starting position on that lineup. My sophomore year at Pulaski, it was like, okay, let's stick Shelburne in there. Keep your hands up, inbound the ball, throw it to Mike Porter, and keep your hands up on defense.
I can do that.
And when he throws the ball, make sure you catch it because he would rifle passes. But and then, of course, Coach Burns comes in between my junior and senior years. And then that's when he really challenged me and helped push me to take it to another level. So, but yeah, it was always about the hard work. Always.
Do you remember the game in high school that you felt like, okay, I'm arriving now? This is it. Do you remember, was it the district game or do you remember like a specific? I know it's kind of hard. I can't remember that far back. It takes me a while to think. So I don't know if it's something do you remember it?
Well, it's, there were some games. Yeah. A couple times my sophomore year, again, we're playing with Mike. And the first year we played Salem. Okay. It was after Christmas. And I had a couple good games, before that. But we're playing Salem, which everybody was, on edge for because, again, this is Mike Porter and Richard Morgan going at it head to head, that senior year because they had been doing it every year, twice a year. And so it was in Pulaski. And, Mike never had a problem with anybody. As far as playing them. Nobody could touch them. Nobody could lay a hand on them. And in that game, I was double digits in points and rebounds. And I had like 16 rebounds that game. And, aside from Richard, Salem they always have solid players. Always had solid post players and whatnot. I think it was Edwards who used to coach. It was John Edwards who coached at Radford High School.
Yeah,
back in the 80s. I think he had went to Salem at that point. And, it was in that game I thought, okay, I can do this because earlier that year, Virginia has always been blessed with talent. But that year, I always call it the Big Four. Virginia had Mike Porter and Richard Morgan, Walker Lambiot, up in the Valley, up in Woodstock, who ended up playing at NC State and then transferred. He played for Valvano, Jimmy V, and then he transferred to Northwestern. And they also had Kevin Madden at R.E. Lee in Stanton. And Madden, who, was a Dean Smith guy, went to UNC. And earlier that year in that season, R.E. Lee and Salem played. So Dad took me down with a good friend of ours, Larry Bolt, who worked on the farm with us, big basketball fan. We all three went down and watched that game, and I watched Madden and Morgan going at it. And I'm like, and I got to play against these guys. Richard, And I'm like, oh my gosh, not that I was guarding him, but you're on the court. Wow, do I have what it takes to get out there? And so that game was big. Then there was another game later in the year. I had sprained an ankle in practice. And, what's the old adage? You got to play hurt.
Yeah.
There's a great sports reporter. I forget who he was. He was big into golf. He wrote several books. I can't believe I forgot his name. He wrote a book called You Gotta Play Hurt. I need to read it sometime, but anyway. I struggled with that. I remember I slumped. I could never get over that ankle injury, but then I finally came out of it. We had a game down in Cave Spring, and they dialed in on Mike that night. And I remember having double digits in that game, hit a couple shots, when we needed them, hit some free throws towards the end of the game. And it was just, how it is. The seasons are long. There's up and down games. But those two games my sophomore year, at home against Salem, on the road at Cave Spring. Then the following year, I got my first dunk in a game against Bluefield High School. Everybody remembers those rivalries, if not basketball. I know they do football. And because that was always pretty rough and brutal. I think they had to suspend that series from what I understand.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a generation will have to go before those two
before Ring comes back,
before they play back. And but then my senior year again, Coach Burns comes in, and he had a tournament that year. It was a Christmas tournament. It was that would have been the third year of the Arby's Classic, and we didn't go there. We had played the first 3 years, down there. So this would have been the fourth year of the Arby's Classic. We didn't go. Coach Burns had a little round robin tournament back home, which was great. Drew big crowds, but it was us. He invited Franklin County High School up and Anacostia High School, which
the DC.
Everybody in Pulaski remembers Anacostia. So, because they would come down annually for the football game.
Yep.
And we played them in basketball, and Cardoza High School that had some really good players. And we opened up against Cardoza, and there was a lot of, supposedly they were ranked, I think they were ranked that year, top 20 high school basketball programs in the nation, not just, they're DC, so they wouldn't have been in the state, but they were ranked nationally. They had 4 or 5 players that were going big D1. Somebody was going UNLV. And, we played well. We really played well as a team. Came up a little short against them. Beat Anacostia the next night. But it was a good tournament, and I had a good game against Cardoza, and I thought, all right, you need to just try to take this thing up another level. And, it was just a progression of just, I guess, as you go along, as you seek the competition. And again, Coach Burns took me to Prep Stars basketball camp between my junior and senior year down in Charlotte, North Carolina. So, and again, the Roanoke Valley District always had great competition.
No question about it. No question about it. It was a great league. Great league.
Oh, and those schools could graduate 5 seniors and come back.
Didn't matter.
And still compete.
Yeah.
Didn't matter. Did not matter. And, and again, I'm talking Fleming and PH, but, Cave Spring, Northside, Salem, Franklin County, all those schools. But, when we went to Prep Stars, you're bringing in a lot of players from all over the place. And everybody's there for one reason, not necessarily to work on their game, but to be seen by college scouts. And that, I'm chasing a lot of rabbits here, but that camp was run by 2 guys, the DiVinzio brothers. Okay? The DiVinzio brothers. Sounds like it's something kind of shady, but it's not. The DiVinzio brothers. One of them was All-American guard at UNC. All-American guard at UNC. And it was Dick and Dave DiVinzio. And I forget who was who, but the one who played guard at UNC, he would, part of that camp, he would bring us in and he would just instill his wisdom in all the campers. Very humorous, didn't have much of a filter, but good person. And I'll bring him up to say this, and this was 1986, summer of 1986. And one thing he kept leading up to, and on the final day of camp, he just unloaded on how he felt it was one of the biggest injustices that college athletes were not paid for their services. And, and I'm just listening to everything he's saying, and he's talking about it. It's just terrible that they're not paid, and how his goal in life was pretty much to see to it that college athletes were paid. And years later, I would read stories about how he tried to keep that movement. I mean, he was the lone voice in the wilderness, I guess you could say, back in those days, And I remember years later, probably 20, 30 years later, I'm not sure, when UCLA won the national title, Ed O'Bannon, I think, took up the mantle, or he was the mouthpiece, and tried to get it going somewhere. And
he did.
With everything that we're in right now with NIL, and DiVinzio, one of the brothers, the UNC guard, he passed many, many years ago. But I always think about when I see articles on NIL and, college athletes being paid. I don't know if that's how he envisioned it, but it was a big thing. And I always think of him during that time. But anyway, that was a long answer to.
No, it's a good answer. It's good. What was your biggest adjustment? Did you have a sense of dread or excitement when you realized you had to play without Michael Porter, when he was going to be graduated, and you had to finish off without it? Did you think about that a whole lot? Had you developed that much in your basketball thought process about it? Or?
Well, there's number one, it's reality. There's no replacing Mike Porter at all. No team's going to replace him. But we had really good players. Everybody deserves their shot.
You did.
Hey, these were guys that had been playing, in coach at that time, Coach Wiley's system, because my junior year was the year without him, and they had paid their dues. It was their turn. We had some good guards coming up. I think Anthony Akers started that year as a point guard, as a sophomore. Anthony, was good, as far as, he was just a great guard, went on to Elon, and had a great career down there. So it was kind of like, hey, look, it's the next chapter. It's the next chapter. Sometimes I'll look back on it and think, man, I wish I would have been 2 more years down the road and got to play with Mike. But that's not how it was set up. But, in my mind, hey, we're going to compete. We're going to find a way to compete. And I'll tell you a funny story. Speaking of Bluefield, so there was always a high school basketball jamboree, preseason jamboree, if that's still a word. I know those of us back in the 80s remember jamboree.
Jamboree. I went to a lot of football jamborees. Yeah.
Well, the Graham High School over near Bluefield in Tazewell County, I guess, had a jamboree. And we're over there, and we're playing Powell Valley High School, okay, a football school. And we get beat. Okay, and it was kind of like you played 2 quarters and you put it together, different games. So the Bluefield High School boys were at the game. They weren't playing, but they were just there basically to rag everybody. And one of their players, everybody in Pulaski remembers this name from the 80s, Cortez Martin. Cortez was a terror on the football field. I think went to Clemson. I don't know, what happened, but anybody around Bluefield remembers Cortez Martin. And I remember, so we get beat by Powell Valley, who turned out to have a really good team. Okay. But we're walking around and one of those guys says, man, y'all lost Porter. Y'all lost it all, didn't you? And I'm like, okay, that feels great. But we come out and we competed that year. We did well. And but there was no replacing Mike. That's for sure.
Well, and Graham also, from a football perspective, they had great names. You mentioned the basketball jamboree. They had the Graham Grid-O-Rama. I mean, the Grid-O-Rama that we played in every year at Radford High School. We'd go up and broadcast. Coach Lindenberg always played in the Graham Grid-O-Rama up there in Bluefield.
Yeah.
At Mitchell Stadium.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Those are some great memories. Memories.
Yeah.
The good old days. They come in and drop off like a little big old tray of hot dogs and hamburgers. Here you go. You going to be here all day? Yeah. Thanks. Wow. Never forget that. Best time I was ever fed in high school was at the Graham Grid-O-Rama. It'd be like a whole tray. You're like, oh, thanks. Take them with you if you don't. Okay.
You hit the lottery.
Hit the lottery. Well, good stuff, brother. Thanks for jumping on, and good to have you back. But I'm glad you got to go over and experience. That's a beautiful country. That's a beautiful country. Good Lord.
Oh, very, very, very fortunate. Very, very fortunate. Nice people. Somebody said, "What was my favorite part of that trip?" And look, we liked going and touring the country, but wasn't like we packed our lunch to go over there. So we were in all those pubs in and around Ireland, to go in and eat. And man, I could just sit there all day long and listen to the people that work there. They
Absolutely.
I mean, so nice to kind of hear, what's going on in Ireland, asking them about the country. They were very interested in us, and it seems like they loved Americans over there. And but that was probably the most fun I had of anything over there.
I bet so. I'd be the same way. You could, like you said, you can make a day of it, right? Start at lunch and just bounce around and that would be cool. That would be cool.
And just sit there and listen to them. That was my favorite part. The people, I guess. Is what it was. Yeah.
Well, that's cool, man. That's cool.
Oh yeah.
Well, brother, thanks for jumping on, man. Appreciate everything you do, and we still got to get the Farm Bureau jackets or the sweaters.
I got those. I want to see Marty and Rags and yourself wearing those things.
Yeah, we got to get them to him. We got to get them to him. Well, I'm gonna bring it up to him. We get this thing scheduled for next week, so we'll get it here. So yeah.
Awesome. All right. Congratulations again. The show keeps picking up steam every single day.
We're keeping on. Yeah, we got a couple big announcements coming up too. So yeah.
Oh, awesome.
We're getting there. We're getting there, brother. We're getting there.
That's it. It's awesome.
All right, man. You stay safe. Give my best to Terry and the kids.
I shall. I will.
All right, brother. All right, man. Take care.
Take care. Thank you.
See you soon. Let's talk soon.
Absolutely.
All right,
absolutely.
Big Ron Shelburne, Radford Hall of Famer, and a true great coming out of Pulaski County High School. And as Tony said, now I'm not just talking about a great player, which he clearly was. I'm talking about a great person. But you go through the basketball hierarchy of Radford. I mean, Ron Shelburne's right there. It was funny, too. I didn't say this, but Cole Wilder, who I do the games with, who played it with. But by the way, Wayne, he was a George Withgard. Played at Radford. He's now color analyst with me on the Radford home games. Ron, by the way, I worked with Ron for several years. I miss him. But he didn't believe me about Mike Porter. So, Ron, if you're still watching. So, Cole's like, I keep hearing you talk about this guy. People talk about him. How was he that good? And now he didn't play anywhere. Well, I said he had some academic, back when that still mattered, right? He had some academic shortcomings, to be honest with you. He had a tough growing up. Ended up at St. John's with Louis Carnesecca. And so Virginia Legends, which is great. David Mabry does great work with them. We got to get more involved with them here going forward. But they had put out about a 5-minute highlight reel of Michael Porter. And I'd seen most of the plays. I had seen most of it. And then some of it, I'm still sitting there going, there's nobody better today. So I sent that to Cole. I said, hey, man, by the way, you've been asking about Michael Porter. I've been trying to tell you, I know you don't believe me. Just watch this. Just watch this when you can and let me know what you think. So we went, he was at school. He's a principal here at an elementary school in Radford. And 3 or 4 hours later, he just sent back a text. Rick, I owe you a huge apology. He said, he exceeded everything you had said about him. Wow. He was just going, wow, sending me all these emojis. I said, yeah. And Mike was only about 5'11", 6 feet. You know, he wasn't, but his jumping ability, unbelievable. Yeah, the rise jump shot. That's what he was talking about too, TP. Watching him elevate, block shots, hustle after plays, and he abused Richard Morgan. TP, you might remember those games. Hot Rod, Rodney Young. If you watch those games, everybody was hyping them up, man. They'd write newspaper articles, you know, whoever it was, Ray Cox and all those folks that we could. And it was just a complete wipeout. Richard Morgan went on to Virginia to play and start. And Michael Porter he beat him like a rented mule every time. Like those were matchups that were hyped. It was just, but they stopped being hyped because they were always just so unbelievably one-sided. The best high school player I've ever seen. Talking about in not only just the area, a guy you could. And if you don't know, go find it. You can just type into Google Michael Porter, Pulaski County High School highlights, and just watch and tell me what you think. He was Allen Iverson and then some before Allen Iverson. And if you would have had the academic side of it, he would have played anywhere in the country. He would have. I say that with 100% confidence. Like, you can't exaggerate how good Michael Porter was. You can't. You can't. All right, great stuff today. Man, that was a loaded show. It was a lot of fun. What great guests. Keon Brown, Damian Sordelette, David Teal. We had back-to-back Hall of Famers, David Teal, Ron Shelburne. Tomorrow, Andy Bitter will get another summation of the spring game. Alex Square will join us. David Smith. We'll talk some NFL stuff. And then Dwight Vick. And Dwight Vick's got some very interesting things to say about the spring game. And we may have one of our announcements tomorrow. We'll see. All right. Great stuff. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. We slid over the hump effortlessly. Thanks to our guests. Thanks to our wonderful sponsors. Couldn't do without you. Thanks to you in chat, you on the text line, Professional Door text line, McClellan Chiropractic chat room. And we will see you tomorrow on Thursday.